Good evening, one and all, and welcome to the Toon Review for tonight's, I don't know what you call it, a wake? Is it a wake? I guess it is. From yesterday's terrible performance at Chelsea. We will be reviewing that game. And now that the dust has settled, do we still feel the same as what our match reactions were? Well, you will find out. If you do enjoy the show, of course, please do give it the thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe, and also don't forget to hit that bell, which will let you know when we upload or schedule the live shows. You can become a member, of course, if you hit the join button just underneath the three of us. And, of course, you can donate to the channel if you do so wish by hitting that $sign just underneath the live comments. And that will, of course, guarantee your comment to be read out on the show. Steve Mallam, who's been a member for 19 months, says nobody knows how long Gordon will be out for yet. They probably haven't even got the scan back themselves. Stop believing in the no bollocks. Well, what I will say to that is let's just wait till the club actually say something, eh? There's been so many people rumoured about this 6 to 9 month thing. Lee Ryder's come out in the last hour and said it's not as bad as first thought. Let's just wait till the club explain the situation. So don't just wait till we say this every time about transfers and everything else that goes with it. Just wait, guys. Just wait until the club tell us what's going on, because it's pointless speculating. It really is. It doesn't do anybody any good, to be honest. However, I've also I had a brilliant reaction on YouTube to my match reaction. Billy and Alex had a great reaction over on Patreon to theirs. A lot of home truths were said last night. I've had my reaction shared across social media today, and of course I've had the happy clappers come after me again, asking me who the hell is this guy, True Geordie wannabe, he's going to have a heart attack. And honestly, I laugh it off now. It's ridiculous, but the feedback, nearly, I think every comment on the YouTube video was actually saying they agreed, and I think a lot of people are now fed up with the situation of certain players keep getting games, etc., etc., and it is becoming annoying. I was very pissed off when I did that match reaction last night, but I tell you what, I stand by every bloody word of it. Not once will I turn around and go, no, I was wrong about that last night, because I wasn't, in my opinion anyway. I was fully justified in being seriously angry, but I can't believe that the happy clappers are still out there. I mean, they will not ever have anything bad said about the club or the team. I didn't understand the fans last night after the game, if I'm perfectly honest, jumping around like we'd won the cup when the players came over. I don't understand it. I really don't. You know, I can get them applauding the players and things like that, but really, was that necessary? Giving them like a standing ovation and jumping up and down when we just watched that load of shite? I'm not so sure. But anyway, Billy, obviously you said some very, very strong words last night. Do you stand by them still?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah, the line's been crossed for me now. Yeah, absolutely.
Alex, Chip has actually just sent in a super chat. He says, still forming. Apparently, if you check Google Maps, Longstaff is still on the Stamford Bridge pitch now. He's that slow. Yeah. Peter says, loved your rant, Paul. Totally agree with Billy last night. Put the white flag out when taking Bruno off. A poll would be interesting about how it was 60-40 last time. Well, funny enough, there is a poll going to be put up in just a second. But I would like to say a massive thank you to everybody. We hit 28,000 subscribers last night. And, you know, when you've got 28,000 subscribers, you kind of look at all the negative Nellies on social media trying to have a dig at you and trying to say some rather nasty stuff, and you kind of just, you know, laugh it off now. We too far down the line to take anything that them lot say seriously. You know, we have opinions, and very strong opinions on this show, and we'll stand by them. Alex, where do you stand at the minute? Because obviously the dust has settled, sort of anyway. What's your feelings?
Not quite as harsh as everyone else's, but I think I still agree with the main points that everyone else has put forward. You know, taking Bruno off, not making the right substitutions, Longstaff staying on the whole game. It's not the first time we've been poor tactically. I didn't like his post-match press conference. I thought
it was terrible.
There were a lot of cover-ups in there. I think he's protecting his squad and his players. which is fine, but the players have now got to respond to that because he wasn't overly wrong about the first half. A moment of bad judgment, and they scored, but we were in the first half. It was 1-1. I thought we looked okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was the second half where they let him down, and he let them down by not making the necessary tactical adjustments and personnel changes that was clearly needed. But he's protected them in that press conference now. They've got a response for him, and especially the players that he's defending, players like Longstaff and stuff. There's a few in there that he's showing faith with. Although I know Burn wasn't really bad yesterday, but there were a few in that squad that he is protecting now, and they've got to repay him the faith, because otherwise, a lot of people have said across social media today, if this kind of stuff, this hot cold, if this continues and continues and continues, he will eventually lose his job. I don't think he'll lose his job at all this season. I think he's 100% guaranteed his job for this season, albeit unless we lose every single match. Mm-hmm. However, if this does keep going on and on and on and on, it's tough to see where we go from here, because that you can see nice little patterns of play and interesting changes he's doing offensively. You can see we're working on stuff, but it's the basics and it's the defensive performances. We're letting in far too many goals. We've actually got one of the strongest goal scoring seasons we've ever had this year, goals per game, but it's completely overshadowed by how poor we are defensively. So,
yeah, we've got a couple of super chats in there. Avina says, well said, Billy. Totally agree with you, mate. Jens, thank you for yours. Paul, your match reaction was spot on. I was fuming. Ian Fleming, thank you for yours. Congrats on 28K, Paul. You're doing better than what the tune is. It's funny when you get the comments on social media saying, who are you? Who are these? What I like, guys, is when these people question saying, who watches these rubbish things on YouTube? Who watches it? Well, a lot of people do. A lot of sensible people do, and it's more popular than TV now. So stick that in your pipes and smoke it. Billy, one comment that I picked up about the Anthony Gordon situation from Eddie Howe was that he said that this injury happened earlier in the half, and once again we left him on the pitch.
There was a couple of things he said that really. I mean, I was angry last night. I'm more disappointed today. I've still got a bit of anger in there, but when he said that he moved Anthony Gordon to the right wing because he felt he wasn't defending Dan Burn properly. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you pick your left back to defend, and you shouldn't have to babysit with a player in your side who is supposed to be creating chances when he's also got a midfield player helping him out. Doesn't sit right with me at all. Pick a player that doesn't need babysitting as much. That's the simple question for me. Why are you still picking Dan Burn left back when he needs two players to help him defend? It's not on. It's not on. And then for him to get injured, and we saw him actually limp early in the game, didn't we? When he was on the left hand side, and he didn't seem comfortable. He moved to the left side. Obviously, he got manhandled to the floor. Cartilage injury, as far as I can see. Stato tends to agree. I've had a cartilage injury, and you need us lock up. For the physio to then come on and yank his leg up sharply when potentially he's got a cartilage injury, it's unforgivable. It's so bad practice. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I've kept quiet about that because I didn't know whether that's normal procedure for a physio. That's why I'm not commenting.
That's a normal flexion test. He's moved it up to see if there's any pain there.
It's the way he did it though.
I'm not. I'd have to watch it back. I don't remember him jarring it. I think he moved it up in a normal motion and then he winced, which is fine. That is what would happen. I'm not going to put blame on the physio. I think he did a default test there.
I think he did it really sharply though, Alex. I really do. I think he
I'd have to watch it again because I don't remember.
Yeah, he did do it sharp, but that's why I didn't say anything, because I didn't know if that's obviously I'm not qualified. I don't know what the situation is there when there's a potential cartilage or whatever ligament injury to the knee. I don't know, but it did seem to push it back very quickly and forcefully.
That kind of movement, Paul. I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it. I used to see this a lot. In my experience, that is cartilage or ligament. In my experience, you don't do that kind of test, and you don't have that reaction if it's a muscular tear or if it's bruising or a dead leg. That's not a reaction to if you've had a fracture or a muscular tear. That is the way you react if there's something wrong with you, ligament or or cartilage, meniscus, whatever it may be. That is, from my experience, it doesn't mean it's absolutely spot on, but the problem is that logically means he's out for months and months and months at a minimum. So I don't want to be doom and gloom about it, but some of these reports, especially the Lee Ryder report saying he's probably fine, or he's better than once thought, I don't agree. I feel like it's probably bad, but I don't know. I mean, he was running. It doesn't look like anything crazy serious. You know, when people ping ligaments like really badly, they can't walk. So it's not going to be a 9-monther he's completely gone. However, I do think it's going to be a period of months, not weeks, because it's pretty serious. So
yeah. Now, Billy, again, we spoke about Sean Longstaff, and people were saying, "Oh, he won't make substitutions at half time." He's done it twice with Lewis Hall, but obviously that was Lewis Hall. But to not bring Sean off yesterday was nothing short of embarrassing and just fundamentally wrong in every possible way. Roadblock, thank you for your super chat. He says, "Hi guys, Eddie's not doing Sean or Dan any favours by keep playing them. I don't want to see the crowd turn against them after all they've done for us." No, but fans have a right. Fans have a right to be upset and annoyed at certain decisions, and fans have a right to criticise. We pay our money, we're damn well entitled. You know what I mean? So whether people agree with you or not, Andy C83, welcome to Members Club. Thank you for signing up, my friend. And it's really just madness. It is. I don't understand some of the decisions coming from the bench at the minute, or team selections. Matt says, "I was there last night in the Chelsea end. Gordon pulled up in front of me after 5 minutes and looked like he was struggling. It looked bad and no idea why he carried on." Billy, we pointed that out during Match Day Live on the commentary that he was injured.
It wasn't his knee though. First off, was it? It was his ankle or Achilles, was it? Okay,
well, that could have just been the pain going down his leg, couldn't it?
Potentially. He got up and walked off and started running, and we said, "Oh, you're okay again." But when Corella manhandled him to the floor, didn't even get a free kick for it, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't an impact injury. I think it's cartilage. I've done my cartilage and my knee locked up. And it's as simple as that. And I had someone to kind of bend it in place like the physio did. I might have avoided any kind of operation on it, but in the end, I had to operate on it. So.
Now, I mean, obviously, last night's game, we started the first 5 minutes pretty well. We looked really up for it, and we were putting the pressure on the back line of Chelsea, who, by the way, it looked all over the shop. Their back line was all over the shop. And again, we didn't go for the throat. The first goal, Burn gets skinned. The cross comes in. I have no idea what the communication was between Dubravka and Botman. Botman then just does a little powder puff clearance to the end of the edge of the box. Obviously, Cole Palmer fires it back in, and it's tipped in by Jackson, and we're 1-0 down. That was a shocking clearance. And what the hell is going on with Sven Botman, Alex? Because this is going on and on and on now.
I mean, he managed to sort of step up the performances a little bit, but then yesterday, because he went from being quite wobbly.
The last game he played,
there were 3 or 4 that were really shaky, and then he started to kind of steady his performances a little bit. Better passes, wasn't making mistakes. But then yesterday, positionally wasn't great. I mean, he did well to stand up Sterling when he got run at. It was very Van Dijky of him. That was really good. But yeah, just a strange clearance. Me and Billy mentioned this yesterday. We were massively on Tonali's case for poor clearances early on in the season. So we have to be consistent with that and be frustrated at that poor clearance. You've got to put your foot through it, especially in that kind of area with who's around you offensively. Just get rid of the ball. You don't want it recycled on the edge of the box by probably the best player for that to fall to would be Cole Palmer for them. You can't have that. So fine, it was a well-worked goal in terms of the shot and the creativity from Jackson, but it was very avoidable if you just do a standard clearance.
I mean, look, I don't know what's happened to Botman. He looks stiff. He looks just out of sorts. He doesn't look confident when he's on the ball. His defending is shaky. I mean, is it time to just again, we're looking for ruthlessness from the manager, and I'd leave him out on Saturday. I'd put Lascelles in, Billy.
100%. I don't, There's no doubt about that in my mind. I don't think it was all Botman's fault, that goal. I felt Dubravka's communication and not coming for the ball at the near post when it was easy for him to do so was wrong. I thought Dan Burn got done by the full-back, which was, questionable. But the clearance was the main part of it. I mean, if he'd have just hoofed that into touch with a proper shout behind him away, he probably would have hoofed it to touch. But no shout, clearly. Otherwise, Dubravka would have come for that. It was just a conglomerate of mistakes that ended up with a good goal. And even the shot itself, and maybe could Dubravka have got to that? I'm not sure. I guess the leg deflection would probably put him off a little bit. But it was just a really, really poor goal, as all three were, if I'm perfectly honest.
A few people saying I'm making excuses. About what? What have I made excuses? I've just said Botman wasn't good enough yesterday and we should have cleared it.
Botman was shocking yesterday. He was shocking.
If you're going to criticise what I'm saying, explain yourself. Don't just say you need to explain it. If people get really aggy, just going to get timed out. Explain yourselves. Very simple.
Liam says thoughts on Luke Edwards basically calling our fans entitled. I don't give a shit what Luke Edwards says anymore. The guy's a pleb, and he always will be. He's an absolute dick. He hates Newcastle fans, and shouldn't really be having anything to do with our football club, but he does, unfortunately. Now, obviously, a lot of people listen. For me, Dan Burn wasn't the worst defender there last night by a long shot. Shea wasn't that much better. To be honest, than Botman, slightly better, made a couple of nice passes. But, it was two very, very bad defenses yesterday. But we got to the final third. Murphy came on, put some wonderful crosses in, Billy, and nobody takes a gamble on any of them.
We don't have a striker that suits crossing the ball in, unfortunately. We're playing with these wingers and inverted wingers and getting crosses in, but unfortunately, Isak isn't that kind of striker. I don't think, anyway. And he took his chance absolutely fantastically well, but I don't think we're feeding him properly. I really don't. The style of football doesn't suit Isak. I don't think, anyway. We're not getting the best out of him. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah.
The first goal people are talking about in the chat. Look, the likes Dubravka actually went down to collect the ball. That's playing his day for everybody. So, we don't know whether he gave Botman a shout and Botman just was in two minds and it ended up just bouncing off his foot to the edge of the box. But we've seen that miscommunication numerous times.
He went down and stepped backwards at the same time, which was
which was
typical
bizarre.
Dubravka for me. Yeah, it's neither one thing nor the other.
Hi, it's me. Says I'm new to all this stats stuff, but my reading of FB ref is that Miley outshines Longstaff for minutes played. Am I right? Well, I would assume you're right. Yes. I love Eddie Howe, and I know he's far from a stupid man, but I really don't understand the poor and slow decisions and lack of changing game plans. There is literally zero excuse, Alex, for keeping Longstaff on the pitch. I do not know what is going on with Eddie Howe and Sean Longstaff, or what is Eddie's backroom staff are actually saying to Eddie Howe, but how they can stand there and see that kind of performance week in, week out, and still play a full 90 minutes every single week. It has to be addressed, and Eddie Howe needs to be called on it.
Yeah, that was the final kind of time for me. Everything else up to that point, I've been able to offer sort of an alternate explanation, not necessarily defending him, but offering points as to why he might have made certain decisions. Yeah. I cannot at all even provide any sort of devil's advocate argument as to why Longstaff stayed on that pitch. He made 5 substitutions and Longstaff still managed to finish the game. I can't agree with that. I thought Longstaff in the first 5 minutes, he was getting leery and aggressive with a linesman when the linesman had actually made the correct decision for a throw-in, which I was quite frustrated about. He needs to show that kind of agginess and passion in the actual game against the opposition and getting stuck in, not just screaming at a linesman for making the right call. There were 4 or 5 situations where he lost the ball, he walked, he meandered around. I appreciate there are moments where you wander to recover for your sprints and stuff, but he was doing it when we needed recovery runs, when we needed bodies. It was probably his worst performance in the black and white shirt in terms of effort. It was fully just down tools, and it's not good enough. That's the kind of performance that gets you hooked at half time. I said to both of you off camera last night, I'd be a horrible manager because I'd sub people off in the first half. I would do a Mourinho. I would say 20 minutes in, off your pot. That's not what we've planned. If you're going to play like that, you're not going to be on my pitch. And I feel like that's what Eddie should have done. Eddie should have gone, not a chance. If you're not going to give the effort for your teammates, you need to come off. Because performances like that, you've got Bruno, Isak, and I know Botman's having a wobble at the moment, but he is a great centre-half. We're not going to retain these kinds of players because unless we have a massive sort of upgrade in the summer in terms of squad quality, a few of these are going to start thinking, football players have short careers. There might be a 5-year period where they're absolutely on it.
Yeah,
these lads are, Isak and Bruno and stuff are Champions League quality. They need to be playing in the best teams in the best competitions. So we need to get moving a little bit. And I have actually got the graphic for Miley versus Longstaff if you want to see it.
Yeah, just 2 seconds. Mark Mullins, thank you for your super chat. He says, we got rid of the wrong Longstaff, in my opinion. That's debatable, but we've got Ian Bradley here. He says, just started listening, lads. Brilliant. Lady Sam put me onto you. She's my daughter. Call me King Bradley. Well, good evening, King Bradley. And Sam is doing a fabulous job with us. And we're so happy to have her on as a co-host. Of course, she's away this week in Italy. Probably got absolutely hammered last night in the bar she was in watching the game. And who could blame her? But Billy, another thing about the game was Bruno being substituted. Now, I am sick of people trying to have a go at me saying, well, he's saving him for Manchester City. He's saving a yellow card. A, he doesn't get suspended against Manchester City if he got a yellow card. And B, if you're going to save him, take him off after 55 minutes. Don't take him off with 10 minutes to go in the game. That's not saving him. That's practically taking him off at the end of the game.
Well, look, we had 10 minutes plus added time to go. We were 2 goals behind. Chelsea's defence looked like they were shitting themselves. They didn't want any pressure on them. They were scared. Now, for us to take off our most creative midfielder, the person who provides the most assists from that midfield, the person who provides the flair, to take him off and leave a player such as Longstaff on, who'd done absolutely nothing all game and was actually more advantageous to Chelsea than he was to Newcastle United, smacked of putting the white flag up and surrendering the game and giving it up as a bad job. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see that as a Newcastle United manager. I wouldn't have accepted it with Steve Bruce doing. I didn't accept it when Alan Pardew did it with Johan Kabay when we were 1-up with him running the game and Reading scoring 2 goals. Yeah. And I'm not going to accept it now. And for me, that substitution was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. To surrender a game 10 minutes from the end and plus added time when Chelsea defence weren't great. They were scared. It's just smacked of desperation and cowardice for me. And I'm not going to accept that in a Newcastle United manager. I really am not, especially in a game which is so important. A point would have been fantastic for us. Obviously, 3 would have been better. But to throw that away at the time was monumentally cowardly. And for me, he's done for me now.
You said that straight away last night. Jan, thank you for your super chat. Sean is staying on as we want some money for him in a few months. Well, if anybody's watching his performances, Jan, then they'll think no chance. Because I said last night that, the way he's playing at the minute, I don't think there's one Premier League team that would look and say, oh, he'll improve our squad or improve our team.
And people said about Bruno playing crap last night.
Yeah, he was poor, but
you've got to take into account that he's got a passenger sat next to him and he's trying to cover his spaces as well as his own. He can't do the job of 2 men. He's not two plays in one. Longstaff was that bad last night. Other players were trying to compensate for him, and whether Bruno did it too much or what, and took it away from his own game. Maybe I'm being making a bit of an excuse for him, but it seems that way to me. I've got to say.
Look, he was poor yesterday. Bruno wasn't at his best, but not many of them were. But like Billy's mentioned a couple of times now, the reason you leave him on is because he has that creativity just to look what he did for Isak's goal. Right, the little flick through to Isak for that goal. That's what Bruno has in his locker, and that's what Billy is saying. You'd leave him on because he's got that in his locker to just break down a defense and maybe create something. And we scored a goal over 90 minutes, but there was still 6 minutes left to go in the game. But where do you look for the creativity? It just, you had none on the pitch, and he threw. For me, Billy's right. He threw the game. He just waved the white flag. Says, "Oh, let's put Miley on. Let's put Joe White on as well." I'm not taking any of this bollocks saying he was saving Bruno for Saturday, because I think that's absolutely ludicrous. And I just wish this yellow card would get out the way as well, because people are talking about, oh, he's coming off because he's got a yellow. He doesn't want to get a yellow card. Just sudden, it's part of football. He will get suspended eventually. Just bollocks to it.
He's only got 4 more games to do now before it stops. So,
so we expect. Well, in that case, just drop him for the 4 games, Billy. Don't play him.
You can guarantee if he doesn't get booked in the first 3, he'll get booked in the 4th one.
Yeah, but if that's what he's worried about, then put him on the bench. You know what I mean? It's a stupid thing to do.
Anyway. Do you want to see the comparison?
Yes, please.
There it is. Oh. So, yeah, Miley versus Longstaff. Miley's in blue. Well, so Miley's in blue, so you can see defensive metrics. I mean, this is a 17-year-old he's being compared against, Longstaff versus Miley. So, better aerial duel win rate, clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles. So better defensive metrics across the park. Higher successful take-ons rate and progressive carries. Sean, they profile very similarly. Miley's doing a very similar job to what Sean does on the ball.
But he's doing a better job than what Sean does, Alex. That's the whole point.
But the fact that he's 17 and he can basically match Sean, plus do a few fancy little through balls from time to time that Sean can't do. Obviously, Sean's got a few more goals, but Miley's probably not taking some of those shots on, and maybe there's instructional things to play it off to other players. But Miley's profiling good enough. He's played enough minutes. He's played against big teams. I appreciate we've got to protect him, and that was my viewpoint at the start of the season. But I feel like he's played enough now to trust him coming on at 55 minutes and trying to be athletic enough. I'm shocked that he wasn't given a chance to come on for Longstaff and do that role. I can't really understand why, because he profiles very similarly to Longstaff, can do a similar job. I appreciate he's not experienced yet, and he may have come on and made a mistake and we may still have lost that game, but you have to roll the dice because Sean wasn't doing anything.
Yep. Well, there you go, guys. I mean, that just proves a point. A 17-year-old is, looks a much better player. But I want to get your, I said at the start of the show, guys, about the fans at the end. I mean, Billy, what do you think of it? Because I find it bizarre. Yes, just give them a clap, and then the players go off. Well, the players standing there, Newcastle fans, jumping around. And if you were at the game last night, let me know, and let me know if you were part of it, because I don't quite get it. All that massive, cheering and jumping on the stands and singing away to the players and that. I'm not sure I agree with that when we played as badly as that, Billy.
I was more concerned with the players smiling and laughing as if it hadn't meant anything.
Well, actually, yeah, good point.
Simple as that for me.
Okay, Alex?
I mean, fan-wise, it had a place previously. I think we did it. Didn't we do it against Bournemouth in the Bournemouth loss?
Luton away.
Or was it Luton away? The away fans kind of cheered them on and sang at the end as if to say, you've messed up. However, look how good we are as a fan base, as a group of supporters. And they kind of went and thanked the away fans, held their heads in shame, realised that they had to kick on from that. So there were moments earlier on in the season where that made sense and it was probably appropriate. I think last night it wasn't appropriate. It was more of a, and especially what Billy said as well, some of the players were just kind of meandering around, smiling, kind of brushed it off. So less appropriate, but they're normal, hardworking people that have gone down to London to watch a game of football. Maybe they'd had a beer, maybe they were with their family. There's a lot of context. You can't have a go at people, but I understand. I don't think it was personally appropriate. But people can do what they want. I appreciate it's completely split opinions in the fan base, but yeah, earlier on in the season it made sense to kind of give them a kick up the arse as if to say, look, we'll support you, but you need to do better than that. Now, a little bit step too far.
I mean, let's be honest. We had the same performance against Arsenal 2 weeks ago. Exactly the same performance. Lack of effort, lack of attitude, no tackles being put in. giving players the freedom of the pitch to do whatever they wanted in for the opposition. Now, I don't know what Eddie Howe was saying to them before the game or at half-time, but there's no motivational speech there. Absolutely not. Because then players should have been on it from minute one. Okay, the press was there for 5 minutes, but then stop. Not a tackle all night on Cole Palmer, the danger man, the man that is going to be the biggest stress to your team.
He got last night was embarrassing.
Not really one tackle put on him in the whole 90 minutes. It's absolutely scandalous.
I mean, listen, this is how bad Sean Longstaff was last night. It got Billy actually saying that he'd rather have Jeff Hendrick in there than Sean Longstaff. That's how bad Longstaff was. Billy was tipped over the edge last night. It was incredible. Gamer Andy, thank you for your super chat. Loving the channel, guys. Is there any truth? We are potentially looking to sign Zinchenko at the end of the season. We need to replace Byrne. Well, I did a show on that last week it was. He was linked to us in the media, but whether that takes anything, I think a lot of fans were actually against it, not having Zinchenko. So time will tell. Racers Highlands, best Newcastle United channel on YouTube by a mile. For me, the only good things about last night was Tino Murphy, and I thought Almirón had a decent game as well. Well, you know what, right? Everybody knows I've been one of Miggy's biggest critics, right? But when he went on the left yesterday, I thought he played better. I really do. There was 2 times in the second half he really pissed me off when he took his eye off the ball twice and let the ball run out of play. But I guess you're going to get that with Miggy. But I thought he was...
That's harsh. One of the passes was very overhit.
Superman he stopped running, Alex. Billy called it out on the commentary.
I don't think Superman gets that.
Well, Superman would have got there, to be fair, because he's just trusting the speeding bullet. Anyway, but that's not really the point. The point is, I thought Miggy gave us an option in attack last night. He was willing to go, and I've criticised Miggy for not having runs at people, not going at the defenders. He did that last night on the left-hand side. And I've since thought about it and thought, well, that's where Rafa played him. Through the middle or on the left, Rafa played him there, and he performed really well. And then he plays there for his country. And then I thought, you know what? He put a few really good balls into that penalty area last night, and nobody went onto it, just like Murphy's. Nobody put the heads in to try and score. And that was really frustrating. And then when he took Miggy off and he puts Anderson on, who, for me, is nowhere near fit enough to play that left forward position in a million years yet. He's not up to pace. Yes, for me, Anderson should have come on for Longstaff, by the way. I thought, look, that should have been the change if he was going to bring Anderson on. But not for Miggy. I think that was another mistake that he made last night.
Seems to be a reward for actually putting pressure on players, getting a few tackles in here and there, like Miggy did last night.
Yeah,
to get him pulled off. Just seems to, you don't do that, tackling players. Good Lord, get off the pitch. Miggy could have gone on for another 20 minutes. He was disappointed to go off. His running hadn't kind of failed him in any way. He wasn't tired. He may have been tired, but he was still making the runs. He was still working hard. Absolutely, he shouldn't have gone off last night. Ridiculous substitution.
And look, people may say that do I still think Miggy should leave and that he's not good enough? Absolutely, but we've got him for the rest of the season at least. And last night, I thought he was a bright spark on that left-hand side, and he tried. He tried to create something. He tried to go past the defender a couple of times, and then he takes him off. And Miggy, you could tell, was pissed off that he was coming off, because I think Miggy still had a lot in the tank. He wasn't knackered. Yet you look at the oil tanker in midfield, who's got the turning circle of 10 bloody oil tankers at the minute, and he gets 90 minutes again. I mean, what is that saying, Alex, to the other players? What is that saying to the other players? That, because they'll say how bad Longstaff is, but they won't obviously say it. But they'll be thinking, what the hell, man?
The dressing room's going to be tough right now, because they're a very tight-knit group. They've been through a lot. They've all improved together. And it has been a big backslide for certain players. And there's been an issue. Obviously, it all started off with injuries, but then it's just... It's escalated into tactical mistakes, individual mistakes from Byrne, from keepers, from Trippier. We've lost points here, there, and everywhere. Changing the goalkeepers around has been an absolute nightmare. There's been a number of things that have contributed to this, but when you throw in the manager not making the right calls either, well, in my opinion, it's a tricky one, but. it's difficult to try and sort the dressing room out. I mean, this is the point that in a football manager save, you call a team meeting. I know it's silly to reference a game, but this is that turning point where when you're playing a football manager save, you go, right, morale's down, we're not winning, things aren't working. We need to have a proper team meeting and reassess the goals of the season and see where everyone's head's at, because it's not working right now. There needs to be and I know it's silly referencing a game, but I feel like we're at that point whether how much you translate from a game to reality, I don't know. But we're at that point now where there's 3 or 4 players that are consistently underperforming. The mentality's not quite there. The aggression's not there. The tenacity, the intensity, the togetherness. On top of that, the results, the conceding goals. There needs to be some sort of team epiphany and understanding of, right, not good enough. Trenches now. We fight. We dig in. We need to have that. That needs to happen. Whatever that moment is, it needs to be now. Otherwise, the season's gone. Because with not long left to fix this, if we can fix it, 7th is a possibility. We can get into a European place. If we don't fix it right now, we'll run out of time. And this is going to be a 10th, 11th place finish for us.
Yep. Toon Gamer, thanks for your super chat. He says Sunusi to be called up now. I'll tell you what, he couldn't do any worse.
You won't, yeah, absolutely not.
He'd be an exciting player to watch.
He had his chance to put kids in when we had to play Everton, Spurs, and AC Milan within 5 days of each other. Did he do it? Did he? Hell, he played the same 11 for 3 games.
Well, this is my point. People coming at me talking about the injuries. Yes, the injuries have been horrific. We all know that. But the in-game management and the team selection throughout that injury. You know, he played Livramento, who was superb when he came in. And as soon as Dan Burn was fit again, he sat Livramento out for 6 or 7 games on the bench. Look how Livramento played last night. He was fabulous again. Yet, as soon as Trippier comes back, you bet your bottom dollar that Livramento will be back on his arse. And that would be unforgivable.
Can I just reference one more thing about Howe and management styles as well?
Well, Alex, I want to get your opinion on this, actually, because Nick says here, lads, has Howe lost the players? Now, I laughed this off last week, but then seeing the players not responding to anything, you will start to ask questions like that.
I don't think he's lost the players. They will believe in him because he's brought them success. He's put a lot of faith in players. He's developed a lot of that squad himself. He's added things to people's games. And I know people don't like the term credit in the bank, but he will have that with the players. Maybe not the fan base. I think he's definitely reaching that point where he's reaching the overdraft for a lot of fans. And I completely understand why you would have that opinion. But with the players, I think he's got more. They will still have faith in him, but there's definitely going to start to be wobbles, I would think, mentally, of certain tactical plans, personnel changes, substitutions. But then there were a few issues last night with 4 of them not going in on Cole Palmer. You know, they won't have stood on that training pitch last week and gone, right, if Cole Palmer gets the ball on the edge of the area, don't tackle him. Of course, they didn't train that. So there were things that were also personnel mistakes that players didn't do right. So they need telling off for that. That needs analysing. That needs improving, highlighting. But in terms of the manager, I just want to mention, if anybody's seen the Kieran Trippier interviews he's done over the last couple of years, he mentioned when he was at Atletico, how the manager came to him the night before the final game, where if they won the game, they would win La Liga, basically. And he came in and he gave Trippier a laptop, and it was just a video of Trippier's first press conference in Spain saying how he wanted to try and win a trophy with Atletico and win La Liga. And he went in at night time, wandered into his house and put a laptop on the table and made him watch that. I know it's ridiculous. I know it's Spain. It's a bit different. It's an Argentinian manager. However, I just feel like we're at that stage now where we need a bit of top quality management. I don't care if it's cliche. I don't care if it's cheesy. You need a bit of tough love. There needs to be, right, lads, this is it now. You need to sort yourselves out. And then the coaching staff also need to go and do more of their own homework on top of that, because it's just, you need to galvanise. You need to get everybody walking the same path again, because we're not.
I feel the Arsenal game was that kind of game where he should have said that afterwards, because there was little to no effort there. And we've repeated the same performance again against Chelsea, albeit against not as good a side. Hence, the scoreline looks a bit closer. But to me, that we were so packed. We've gone from intense to absolutely standing off and doing nothing in 12 months.
Yeah. Cynical Jim says, I'm late tonight. Sorry, Paul, I had to turn the commentary off last night. I thought you were going a bit over the top and my mental health couldn't handle the shouting and swearing. Well, Jim, look, I don't mind if it's affecting your mental health, mate, but the fact of the matter is you listen to the commentary for the passion. It's passionate support of Newcastle United. And if things are as bad as they were last night, there's going to be the odd... We didn't swear a lot, to be honest, hardly at all. We were... I don't think we went over the top because we were only commenting on what we're seeing on the pitch. And you can see by all the comments tonight and in the Matchday live show and on my match reaction on YouTube last night that everybody felt the same way. You know, we're going to call it whether, you know, as I say, if it's affecting your mental health, absolutely don't listen, you know, if it's getting to you that much. But, you know, we're not going to change the way we commentate on games. Absolutely not, because that is what our Matchday live is all about. And we certainly didn't go over the top because it really was that bad. And you know, to say going over the top, I think it's a bit extreme, but I understand. Davey says, I want an honest, open and clear explanation of what's going on with Lewis Hall. I know of his ineligibility last night. Yeah, he couldn't play last night, but yeah, nobody seems to call him out on it. Peter, good evening. I've heard some of our fans on social media say we can't criticise Longstaff because he's one of our own. I nearly threw my phone and laptop out the window when I saw that. I'm sick of hearing that. Just because he's one of our own, does that mean he's allowed to play as badly as he is? And you know what? I don't know whether you remember last night, Billy, when we were commentating, but Longstaff, he lost the ball on the far side of the pitch in the second half. He lost the ball, which almost caused another goal for Mudryk. If you remember, Dubravka came out and got the ball. Yeah. You look at Longstaff's reaction when he loses that ball. It is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, and that's why it's been highlighted all over the media today. Terrible.
I mean, I thought the worst one was when Sterling was in the box and
that one was horrific.
Longstaff literally just stood there watching him.
Yeah,
and Bruno had to make a challenge, slide in from like 10 yards away to try and get a block on the ball. Luckily, it went wide, but yeah, there's just no attitude or effort there. We've got to start getting tackles in. You can't go away from home, just let people play against you. You've got to try and do something to stop them. And we didn't. And you know, God, I'm nearly crying thinking about this. It's hurting me.
Yeah,
it really is. It's hurting me. The fact that we can go into a game. It's a crucial game. It's not a throwaway game like the game at Chelsea was last season. The fact we can go into a game and not put tackles in and not create some havoc for the Chelsea attack. God, it's fucking hurting me. I've got to say, I'm emotional about it because it shouldn't happen. We thought we'd gone past all this shit.
Yeah,
and here we are, 12 months, 24 months down the line. We're seeing performances as bad as what we saw in Steve Bruce.
Abs says he's lost the fickle fans, that's for sure. Not fans you would want watching your back. When the going gets tough, the fans become crybabies. Abs, I know you're a big advocate of Eddie Howe, but
when the going gets tough, the fucking players were nowhere to be seen. That's the point of it all.
And whatever you think, and I know the players need to take responsibility as well, by the way, but we all know that a manager's job is a results-driven business. Nobody looks back and says, oh, yeah, but the players didn't perform for him. All it'll say is he was fired because of results. And the way it's going now, he's got to be careful. Look, I know a lot of people who were pro Eddie Howe, and a lot of people now have sort of gone to the other side. The poll is up, by the way. It's been up a while regarding Eddie Howe. Just asking the question, is Eddie Howe still your man? Yes, no, or on the fence? And we'll come to... I'm not doing a man of the match tonight because there simply wasn't one. There was, but yeah, Tino. There was nobody else to put on the list, Billy, is what I meant.
Yeah.
Murphy, maybe's, but certainly not much after that. But anyway, we're going to come on to our favourite part of the review now, which is the player ratings. Is there any graphics you want brought up there, Alex, before we do them or not? No,
not particularly. No, well, I mean, I've got them, but we know we were bad.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look on because I do want to see how bad we actually were. I want to see the average position and all that kind of stuff.
Well, average positions are an absolute mess purely because the wingers rotated sides, so a lot of it's not very useful.
I guess.
You've got Miggy on the left behind Gordon. Yeah, so this doesn't make sense. I would ignore Gordon and Miggy's positions. A lot of it's pretty useless. If we click show substitutions, 23 and Murphy makes a bit more sense. You can see where he was playing. You've got Kraft out there, so yeah, that makes a bit more sense. But if we remove that, Bruno in the centre where he normally is, you've got Longstaff. I'm not really sure why he's there. That's not normally. He's kind of there, but
blocking off Livermore by the look of it.
Well, it would appear so. It's kind of a normal kind of average position shape to what we typically provide with the back three. And I mean, we were decent in the first half with operating sort of tactically. It worked to a point. We didn't quite have the creativity. We were in it first half, but yeah, we'll get to the second half. In terms of data, if you want to have a look at some people, I thought Bruno was actually fine statistically, and I don't think he was as bad as people said. I was okay with his performance. I thought he was trying to drag the whole team with him.
He's a lot better second half.
As soon as Willock lost his legs, he's not got any help really because Longstaff did nothing. So he's a man alone. 6 out of 7 long balls. There was only one that he overhit and it went out, but he got the other 6 bang on target. His switch of plays were really nice to try and release play. He got stuck in physically. He completed 3 dribbles, 2 key passes as well with an assist. Bruno was absolutely solid in that game. He did it without a lot of midfield support. Willock was a breath of fresh air first half. He's still not 100% fit. Lots of nice sort of ball robs, early doors, driving forward on the left-hand side. We didn't maybe get to see much out of him because Gordon just broke, which was a shame. So we didn't have that part on the left to go and bomb with. But 1 out of 5 dribbles. He'll get there. He will get there, but it did give us a bit more athleticism. Isak is scoring well statistically because he got the goal. Still didn't really give him enough service. He had 3 shots total, 2 off target, a couple of quick fire shots that went over the bar, which was a shame. Still needs to do more physically for me. 3 out of 9 ground duels and none in the air. He really needs to start getting better physically. But there is no doubt that when he has a shot, when he wants to score, he damn well can because he's lethal. And the rest of it is much of a muchness. They're rated lowly because we conceded 3. The lowest rating is actually Fabian Schär, which surprises me somewhat. Why has he been marked down so heavily?
Well, I guarantee that our player ratings are not going to be anything like what we're seeing on the screen.
According to that, Tino had a better game than Longstaff had a better game than Tino. According to that,
yeah, that's why I'd take it with a pinch of salt. But you've got to remember that Tino will get marked down for things like inaccurate crosses. When in reality, we don't care if he's missed the cross. We're happy that he's tried the cross. So you've got to take the data with a pinch of salt. You want them trying crosses. Of course, it's better if they find a head. But they had big centre halves in Disassi. They've got a big back line. So it is what it is. But, I mean, how did Murphy do? 7.3 with his goal. He was nice and creative. Murphy got... How many crosses did Murphy get in? Where's crosses? 5 accurate crosses from Murphy. So lots of useful stuff from Murphy, including the goal.
Right. Let's go on to the player rating, shall we? God help us all. Obviously, we're looking for you guys to take part in the player ratings as well. Let us know if you agree or disagree. And we will start off with Martin Dubravka, Billy.
Certainly not the major problem with the side. Thought his distribution was actually quite good. I think he did struggle with his communication. I did think he should have come for the ball at the near post for the first goal. And potentially could have maybe saved the first one, but apart from that, I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I've gone with a 5 as well. Alex?
I feel like 5's even slightly generous based on the fact we conceded 3. I think the Mudryk one, you can't... I think Pope concedes the Mudryk one as well.
Well, the Cole Palmer one, he didn't have a chance, but that was buried, Alex. That came through.
I'll go with the 5.
His legs were wider than the opening to the Tyne tunnel. It just said, just shoot.
I mean, all 3 goals did come from nutmegs, by the way. There was a nutmeg involved in all 3 of the goals.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, but still.
Yeah, a 5 he's got.
5, okay. Right, we'll move to the right-hand side. Tino Livramento, he gets a 7 from me. Best player on the pitch for Newcastle, in my opinion, last night. Very solid. Good runs, good defending. At times, 7. Alex?
I feel like he deserves a little bit higher than that, but I guess I'll get the brigade come out that say I can't give any higher than 7s when we lost. But I feel like Tino... I'm going to give Tino an 8 because I don't think he did not wasn't the reason for anything that happened last night negatively. He was great in attack. He was great at taking pressure off us. He was exceptional with his runs as well. He was very clever about when to take touches to go down, how to get past people, when to shift his body weight and accelerate. He kept pace with some of the fastest players in the Premier League last night. He is rapid. 9 out of 13 ground duels is so solid. 3 successful dribbles out of 7. And the only reason it was only 3 out of 7 is because he got fouled a bunch as well. Yeah. I thought Tino was absolutely magnificent, to be fair. I'm happy to give him an 8, even though obviously we did so poorly in the game overall, because I think Tino was exceptional.
Yep. Tony makes a good point there, saying he swapped sides and still did as well as he did on the right. So, yeah, I agree with that. Billy?
I think the way Chelsea saw that Tino was a threat and kicked the living shit out of him to stop him was one of the differences between the two sides. I thought it showed an attitude from them that they weren't going to be accepting of this, and they kicked him. And Tino, to me, had a fantastic game. So 7's a good score for him. But they definitely did kick the shit out of him, no doubt about that. And if we'd have showed a little bit more aggression, maybe the result would have been different, and maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation tonight.
Dan Burn, Alex.
Tricky one. I'll go with a 6. He made a few mistakes positionally, but he was better than some of the shocking games. He only lost 1 ground duel out of 7, 1 duel out of 7 total. But he really struggled with. I think
he gave possession up around about 17 times last night. By the way,
yeah, the passing he couldn't find anybody, but that's not 100% down to him. That's down to how
the movement was poor as well. Absolutely,
I think there's a lot to do with how Gordon struggled. Burn couldn't get any passes to Gordon. Gordon was struggling. Gordon gave the ball away once or twice as well. So there was a little bit of a disconnect there on that left side with Burn. It wasn't particularly great from Burn. But I feel like if I've given Dubs a 5, Burn was 6-6 territory, I guess. He was okay.
Okay. Billy?
Clearance off the line as well. Somebody just,
he got back and
a few bits in that game where he gets a few extra plaudits for. So I'm okay giving him a 6.
I thought he showed minimal discipline in his performance, wandering off, being caught in the inside left position when they're on the attack. Gusto went past him with ease. Palmer had him on toast. He seems to be trying to do more attackingly and forgetting his defensive duties.
Yeah,
I don't think you should have a left back in the side and that you have the babysit with 2 players. That's not down to Burn. That's down to the manager, 100%. It's not his fault. He's been put there. He's trying to do a job, and you can't fault him for effort. I'm going to give him a 4 for effort, but apart from that, not good enough. Not good enough.
Yeah, I've gone with a 4 as well for Dan Burn. Right, we'll move into the middle. Fabian Schär, Billy.
I thought we saw a little bit of that attitude shite again, didn't we, with the goal from Madrid? Yeah, I just thought he gave up once he got megged. We've seen it before. We saw it at Arsenal. We saw it at Brighton, where if things ain't quite going our way, he's a bit petulant with it. Throws his toys out the pram. Apart from that, he wasn't horrendously bad, so I'll give him a 5. But I don't want to see that attitude anymore. It's becoming more commonplace.
Yeah,
we need him to kind of stiffen up, and if things are going against us, stand up and be counted. Because when things do get tough, he doesn't.
Alex.
Yeah, I think Schär was probably a step down from Burn. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there have been a couple of games where he behaved like a leader and he tried to drag the team forward by scoring goals, by having shots, by forcing the game, by putting his stamp on it. None of that appeared last night. That rough and tumble Fabian Schär that tries to drag the game forward, he didn't do any of that, which was... I feel like I shouldn't mark him down based on that. It should just be for that one game. But because we know he's got it, John's just said it there, no leadership. Schär's a senior pro now. He's been around for a long time. He's played at a lot of varying levels in a lot of different countries. He's got a cool, calm head. He's got quality on the ball. He's experienced at reading the game. We needed somebody like him to try and step up yesterday. You can't have Miley and Tino and stuff trying to drag us through games. So I'm going to give Cher a 4. It's probably a 5 performance, but I'm going to go with a 4 purely based on we need him mentally to step up as a leader in games like that because players weren't doing well.
Do you notice when he does do these goals, though, there was one we were quite well ahead of the game. I mean, the PSG one, we were 3-1 up, banged it in from distance.
Good point here, by the way, guys. Cher looks fed up with a lot of his teammates, to be honest. He's no outlet to play out from the back. Now, we did see that a few times last night where he put his arms out looking for somebody to make a run and didn't have anybody. So that does come into it. But I just thought he doesn't have a good attitude about him when he gets into this little rut in his own mind.
To me, it's all part of the attitude and effort ball. There was no movement for anyone to pass the ball to last night, any wherever they were on the pitch.
Yep.
Whether it be throw-ins or whatever.
I'm going to go with a 4 for Fabian Cher. Right, we'll move to Sven Botman. Alex.
I'll go with a 4 as well. I mean,
Botman a 4, yeah?
Statistically, seven accurate long balls is nice. His passing accuracy was nice and tidy, 89%. But the lower rating is just down to key moments and not being switched on in key moments in the game that is necessary. As a centre-half, you're judged on those moments. The same as a striker is judged on the 2 or 3 shots he gets in a match. The centre-half has got to be judged for the reverse. And he... struggled a little bit. Fine. Sometimes Byrne was having to backpedal. He had to cover, but I'm not putting that on Byrne. A few things that were in Botman's control last night, such as the clearance. One good sort of jockey and run when Sterling was driving at him. That was good. Decent passing standard, but then the rest of it was poor. So I'll go with a 4.
I'm going with a 2. I thought he was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Yes, he did well with that run in the second half, but apart from that, he was just. I don't think he's fit. He looks very stiff. He doesn't look to have any confidence at the moment. It looks completely dissolved of any confidence that he had before the injury, and it seems to have knocked him back so far. But yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Botman, but he just looks out of sorts completely. So a 2 from me, Billy.
Well, before the injury, when his confidence was high, he had Nick Pope behind him in goal. I don't think having Martin Dubravka's given him the greatest confidence, if I'm perfectly honest. I think that's you might call that as an excuse, but I think the facts showed with the goals conceded. He's not fully fit. I think the way we've treated his injury has been absolutely shambolic and disgusting. He's clearly not fully fit. Lack of confidence added to that. I'll do the dancing between the two of them and give him a 3.
Okay. Right, we'll move on to Bruno. By the way, StreamYard's playing up a little bit. It's looking as if we're all sort of staggering a little bit, but we're not on YouTube. Everything's fine on YouTube, so it's just a problem with StreamYard. I don't know whether you two are noticing it or not, but it's.
I think it's just your end, Paul. It's all right.
It's probably just my end, yeah, right? That's fair enough. But it's all good on YouTube anyway. Right, Bruno. I'm going to give Bruno a 6. Again, I thought he tried. He tried, but he had no support around him for pretty much the full game. And when you're put in that position, it's an extremely difficult position to be in. I don't think he had a great game by any stretch, but 6 for me is where I stand with him. Billy?
Loved the assist. Wanted us to get him in the game more. Couldn't because we had one passenger to the right of him, a literal passenger, and as the game wore on, he had one to the left also. So he was doing a one-man job against basically at times 5 midfielders, which ain't going to work. Loved his attitude as far as he could carry it. And I say the assist was great, so I'll give him a 6 also. But, you've got to give him players around him that's going to help him because make the most of him, guys. He won't be here next season. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's worrying. Alex?
I think he deserves a 7. I think a 6 is a little bit harsh considering he contributed offensively, defensively. He got an assist. His passing was pretty tidy. 6 out of 7 accurate long balls. Physically was okay. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't worthy of anything higher than a 7 and super flattering. But I thought he was really, really solid. And I think most of what went wrong in his game was just down to no structure in the midfield. And a lot of it sort of happened when Longstaff decided to just disappear. Well, not that he turned up anyway at any point, but yeah.
Fair enough. Right, Joe Willock, Billy.
Yeah, bright spark. If it had been a little bit more kind of, let's say, ambitious in front of goal, then maybe going with his head for one of them, he may have got a goal. But he definitely faded, no doubt about it. And I guess that's down again to the fellow on the right-hand side. For a certain amount of time, there was 2 covering against 5 until Willock's legs went. I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, 5 for me for exactly the same reasons. Not his fault that he got tired out. I mean, he's only been back a couple of games, hasn't he? So let's be a bit fair to Joe Willock. Alex?
He probably deserves a 5, but I'm going to give him a 6 just because I really like that he's still got the athleticism. Considering what his injuries were, the fact that he's giving us those gut-busting runs down the left-hand side. He tried 5 dribbles last night. He won the ball back. He was trying to release us. The progressive carries are what we've been missing. He appears in the right places in the box. He's just not quite, as Billy said, he probably could have a little bit more to try and get his head on certain things. But it's a breath of fresh air. And he gets the extra point, gets a 6 from me, because players returning from hamstrings and Achilles and things like that to explosively go and play how Willock plays. That's the first time I think correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys have seen otherwise. First time I've really seen him fully open up the burners, the gas tank. He proper went for it yesterday in a couple of sprints. Not seen him do that yet. So it was the first time he really went for it with his running. Nice to see he can still do it.
What the hell is this? I'm sorry, but this channel I just think has been nothing but disgusting tonight. Get a sodding grip, will ya? We've just played one of the worst performances we've played in a long time, and you put a stupid comment up like that. Grow the hell up, please. Honestly,
explain it, at least.
What are we supposed to do?
Why?
Dance around naked with flowers in our hands, saying, "Oh, it was a lovely performance." Kiss my ass. Honestly, I'm sick of shit like this, man. Nothing but disgusting. What are we supposed to say?
Let him explain why he thinks we've been disgusting, because maybe he saw something that the rest of us didn't. I don't know. Give him a chance to say what he
fast clean carpet cleaning. If he thinks that was decent performance-wise, then he must half clean the carpets and leave his job. Just explain it.
Negative. Honestly, do one, please. If you think it's disgusting, go and fuck off and watch another channel that blows flowers up the players' asses every show and isn't wanting to be honest. For Christ's sake, grow the hell up, man.
By the way, Fast Clean, we're not getting pleasure out of this. It's fucking hurting.
Yes, it is. We're passionate Newcastle fans, you divvy. Christ almighty, we don't like sitting here criticising, but what are you supposed to do? Lately, we're watching that shite. God, get your head out your fucking gorilla's arse, man, will you? Get your blinkers off. Anyway, who hasn't done...
I think we all done Willock, didn't we?
Right, let's move on to Longstaff. Oh, you're going to love my Longstaff one, because I'm doing a first on this show. Negative fucking 10. There you go. Negative 10 because he was shite. Billy.
Well, I mean, I'm embarrassed that I've actually stuck up for him. Because I can accept him being injured and not being fully fit and putting effort in. When you're injured and you're not putting, whether he is injured or not, but we think he's got a dodgy ankle. The fact he put negligible effort into that game last night has totally cleaned anything away that I had positive for him. It was a disgusting performance, and it was a similar performance to the one we saw at Arsenal. He did it twice in 3 games. I honestly don't know how deep I can go with this, but I'll just give him a 0 because...
you can go negative tonight if you want, Billy. You can go negative tonight.
Well, for the lack of effort, I mean, that's unforgivable for me. Just as the manager's surrendering is unforgivable, then I'll give him -10 as well.
There you go. And by the way, if you don't like the truth and honesty and passion, go and watch somebody else. I don't care. If you are a happy clapper and you can't take it when we are critical and your things aren't going right and we give you an honest opinion, bugger the hell off. I don't care where you go. If you want to go and polish Paul Gallant's shoes or polish his head, do anything. But just leave this channel, because you are not going to change what you get on here, which is 100% honesty. Not negativity. It's honesty. It's passion. So bugger off. Anyway, Alex.
I mean, I feel a little, to be honest, about Longstaff as well. Obviously, it's not personal. He doesn't know who I am and doesn't care about any of us, really. He's a football player. However, there's been, in recent weeks, we've stood up for his injuries. We've stood up for things missing from his game. We've tried to identify things that he's done well, because there were certain things in recent weeks he's done okay. And I feel like that's been betrayed. That our sort of efforts to be sensible and analyse and try and give him the benefit of the doubt has been betrayed by that performance. And I feel betrayed, because I've tried to be really neutral and say, right, he's a human being. What is he doing well? What is he not doing well? What are the reasons? How can we get more out of him? We've tried to be really calm with it. And that was a betrayal. It really was. And I know he doesn't care who we are, but it hurts. It really does hurt, because it was shocking. I feel like that's the kind of performance where Eddie should go and hire an Enterprise rent-a-car, give Sean the keys and say, sod off home on your own. Yeah. You're not coming on. That's a Roy Keane kind of speech that's necessary. Yeah. Make your own way back to the Northeast, because you've let your whole team down. I appreciate he's not the reason we lost the game. There were other bits to it. But that just overall effort and performance from Sean was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. Not bad. It's the, son, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It was that. It gives those kinds of vibes. It was so poor.
Look, if somebody says that to you, that gets to you. You know what I mean? As a sportsman, if my ice hockey coach came up to any one of us and said, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed," it used to hurt more than him just saying, "I'm disappointed in you tonight." It gave you that kick up the arse. But Eddie's simply not doing it at the minute. Toon Army 01, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for signing up. Appreciate it, buddy. And Mary's sent in a super chat saying, for truth and honesty, prefer that to bullshit. Exactly. And you know what it is? Listen, this one here, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. This is what these happy clappers do after every performance, right? They will all go and get the little flowery crowns out the loft. They'll sit down, they'll FaceTime each other, and they'll sing that after the game. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. We won't be negative tonight, clap your hands. It's all that. Happy clappers, smoking funny backy and all that shite. Honestly, if you're in that club, see you later. Steve
Mullen makes an excellent point. He's a level-headed fellow. We know he is, and what he said there is spot on. And what Alex said, I couldn't echo it anymore. That's fantastic what he said. Agree with 100% of all of it.
Yeah. We've got Let Us Be as a new member. Thank you, Let Us Be. John Sorby, thank you for your super chat. This is why I watch the channel. Passion, honesty, opinions, and Paul's rants. I'm past the point of giving a shit now about people having to go at me for negativity or having to go at me for saying, who do I think I am? Or I'm trying to be somebody else and all of this. I've had this channel a long, long time. I don't need to be anybody else or act like anybody else. This is me. Simple as that. Honestly, butt munchers, the lot of them. Right, we'll move on to front three. Anthony Gordon, Alex.
I'm going to give him a 1, but he was injured. I think he was injured from probably minute 5. He lost the ball a couple of times, no driving runs. He got fouled a few times, which got us free kicks, but I think he was just injured straight away. So I'll go with a 1. No, and I think he gets a big pass on that. And not one on him as a person. He was injured from minute probably 5. Yeah. So of course you're going to get a 1. He couldn't run properly. He couldn't track back. So yeah, I think people have been really generous with 4s and 5s. I can't remember a single. Was there anything positive? Even one?
I didn't thing. I think Gusto had him in his pocket. To be honest,
I'm going to check if he did anything positive data wise. He had 1 shot blocked, 13 passes. 1 duel. I've got to be fair, because if Miggy does it, we kill him for it. We slate him. So Gordon didn't do anything really. However, he was injured. So
I've gone with a 2. I've gone with a 2 for many of the same reasons you have, Alex. I think Gusto had him all night last night, but he was injured very early on. So what can you do, Billy?
he's that crucial to us that Eddie will play him even if he had to go out in a wheelchair. I think he's been managed awfully this season. I think he's not had rest. He's been playing every game he possibly could. And the way he plays the game isn't a case of getting through games. He runs 100 miles an hour for 90 minutes. Sooner or later, the injury was going to come, and a bad one. And it looks like a bad one. Yeah. Performance-wise last night, it wasn't great. Gusto had him in his pocket. He moved on to the other side. Doesn't suit him on that right-hand side at all. He got kicked to shit by Cucurella, who'd also kicked Livramento to shit. But he offered us nothing last night. I'm not going to say that it's down to him because it isn't. He was injured early doors. I'll give him 2 as well.
Okay. Right, across to Miggy Billy.
Well, he gave us effort, which is something a lot of them didn't. He offered us some stuff, at least a nice shot on the left-hand side. He's better on the left-hand side. A lot better on the left-hand side than what he is on the right. He offers us more. He's more dangerous. One of our better players, I'll give him a 7.
Okay. I've gone with a 6. But I mean, a lot of people have got. I'm seeing 4s, 5s, 6s in a couple of 7s. Yeah, it's whatever. Alex,
I feel like 7's a little bit generous. Good, solid shot. He beat his man. He drove it low and hard, and the goalkeeper just tipped it over the bar. It was straight at the keeper, but better, back to basics. Again, it was all from the left-hand side. A couple of reasonable crosses, although he doesn't really look, which is a shame because it doesn't even go past the first man. But he was guilty of that on the right-hand side. So it was okay. I'm going to go with a 6. But again, he won 1 out of 7 ground duels. He did get bullied physically, and we needed a little bit more oomph. I felt like we could have done with him a little more because he's been quite a tank physically. Especially in some of those Champions League matches. He was messing with some of the world's best, winning duels, being decent, scoring goals. So he can do it, and he wasn't. I don't think he was physical enough for us. We needed a bit more of his energy and physicality. But he was okay. I'll go with a 6 because it was more positive than a lot of others.
Okay, right. Now we'll move on to Isak. Isak's a difficult one. He scored obviously a peach of a goal, but where was he when them crosses come in? Where was he? We expect he's centre forward. He's supposed to be there, and not. I mean, I can only remember him getting on the end of one cross, which was on the 18-yard line, which he was never going to score from.
And he was offside. Yeah. I'm going to give him a 6 just for the goal. Alex?
I'll give him a 7 for the goal. I think goal scoring is important. And he did what he's paid to do, which is you get a few chances a game, you score one of them. He did it again. I'll give him a 7 because he's doing a good job. However, he does need to. We'll put a pin in that, and we've got to say he's 24 now. He's not a youth player. We need to start improving on that physicality. We need the link-up play. I said this to Billy last night on the Patreon. I think it's because I haven't mentioned this to you, Paul. So I think it's worth. I don't know if you've heard the Patreon yet, but it's worth asking you this as well. Chelsea last night were doing nice little intricate passes between Palmer, Gallagher in that 10 role in front of their box. We don't have that. The ball gets recycled to Bruno and we just push it left and right. That's our version of that. I want to see Isak, Willock, and maybe a Bruno, a few others with a few little dink, 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 triple little pass, move and go, touch and go kind of sequences. Yeah, and I think Isak needs to be at the heart of that. He needs to be receiving, turning, passing, playing people in. That doesn't seem to happen. We need more physicality. We need link-up play. I know we don't play the formation for that, but you still can do that because sometimes the situation presents itself for you to be creative, and they don't do it. And I would just like a bit more physicality and a little bit more link-up play from Isak because we can be even more lethal. Fair enough, he gets a high grade because he does his job, he's scoring a goal, but he's got the technical ability. We saw what he did last year with some of his runs and link-up play and passes. He's got it. I'd like to see a bit more of it, especially now Willock's back because he's got his best mate on the pitch. He's got somebody who can run. Willock likes to be cheeky and creative. He's got that streak about him. So I just want to see a little bit more link-up play because Palmer was doing it with his teammates all night. I know we don't play with a 10, but Sometimes the opportunity does present itself and we don't use it.
Toon Trev makes a good point there. We mentioned this last night, actually, Billy. Sometimes he waits for the ball instead of going to meet the ball.
Yeah, that's not his game, is it? It's not his game to kind of hump it into the box for him. I agree with Alex 100%. I think if Willock can get beyond him, he can be a creator as well as scorer of goals. He's fed on scraps last night. He scored a fantastic goal. How you can not give him less than 7's beyond me. If I'm perfectly honest, it's literally feeding on scraps. He's in the job to score goals, and the team to score goals. He also made a header for the Miggy header, the Miggy shot. He's physical on that, but he didn't do an awful lot apart from that. But again, they defended against him. They actually wouldn't let him play. And had we have done that to Cole Palmer, maybe the game would have been different. The attitude was so much better from Chelsea than it was from us. And again, he scored a goal despite being marked out of the game for 99% of the time. So feeding on scraps, you've got to give him 7.
Right, well, we'll move on to substitutes. We'll be quicker with the substitutes because obviously we're way over time tonight. So we'll start off with obviously Jacob Murphy. Billy?
I thought it was excellent, despite not even having the warm-up, getting on the pitch so sharpish. And then straight away got straight into it. His deliveries was great, a terrific goal. A little bit disappointed with his set pieces. Don't know why we were going short corners when we had all that height in the box. I really don't. It was ridiculous, and not once did it pay off. But when we had all the height in the box, we should have been lumping it in there. But I thought Murphy had a really good game. Yeah, 7 for me.
Yeah, 7 for me as well. Thought he came on. His first touch of the ball was an absolute peach of a free kick that, again, nobody decided to go for. Alex?
I think he deserves more. I'm going to go with an 8. I think that he was a guy that basically what I said Fabian Schär should have done, Murphy did. He tried to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and he did. 5 accurate crosses, 3 key passes. He scored an absolute thunder hit of a goal. He was trying to drag us into that game.
I wonder what Alex was going to say there, and then realised he was on live TV.
It's the right day for it.
It is, and I think he deserves an 8 because he basically, he didn't deserve to be dropped. I did give Longstaff a score. It was -10. Murphy didn't deserve to be dropped, and he's nicey about it. He doesn't create fuss. He stayed on the bench, and when he came on, he showed exactly what he's made of. He was good in defence. He was good in attack. Fine. Some of the short corners didn't work, but from the set pieces, Chelsea's line was very high, and Isak tried to head it from miles out. Like it wasn't well worked at all. We should have gone with a routine. But the 3 key passes, 5 accurate crosses, the absolutely amazing strike for the goal. He was trying to make things happen, and he was doing well. He was technically sound. He was physically at his best, and he's got back to full fitness a lot quicker than some of the others are doing when they return from injury. Fair enough, it wasn't a lower body injury, but even so, 8 for Murphy. He deserves. He gets the 8 because of the mentality. Because nobody else really stood up and counted when it mattered. So
interesting. My pen's just literally exploded on my desk. It's like it's got my temper tonight. Right, who was next to come on?
It was Kraft and Anderson on the 69th minute for Burn and Miggy.
Right. Alex, you go first. Both of them, please. Kraft and Anderson. I'm just going to jump out and jump back in, see if it solves my problem here with StreamYard while you're doing that.
I mean, I'm tempted to give Kraft a pretty high mark because he tried to stop that goal. 17 out of 18 accurate passes. So he misplaced 1 pass the entire time he was on the pitch. I thought Kraft was 7. Was 7. Solid. I'm going to give him a 6, not a 7. Forget that. He gets a 6, but I thought he was fine. He didn't do anything wrong. Anderson, a 3. Really struggled physically when he came on. Lost the ball a couple of times. But again, he's not fully fit. And Gusto is an absolute monster, by the way. So I would say a quarter fit Anderson against Gusto in the form of his life. Yeah, I'll give Anderson a 3, but I thought that was harsh. You've trained him to be an 8, and then you go on, lad, you're half fit. Have a go on the wing against Gusto. Like, it was never going to work, and it showed exactly what you thought might happen. Happened. He didn't have the pace. He wasn't up to speed with it. He couldn't win the ball back off Gusto. Anderson's a great player, but that was just a wrong day for him completely.
Yeah. Billy?
Yeah, I thought Kraft was okay when he came on. Solid enough defensively. It was hard. We were trying to push, I guess. I'll give him a 6 like Alex did. Anderson, I think he's been thrown under the bus by the manager. I don't think he should have been put on that side of the pitch. I don't think Miggy should have come off for him. I think if he was going to come on, he had to go in the middle of the park where we were severely lacking, whether it be on the left or the right at that point in the game. So I think the manager's put him under the bus, if I'm perfectly honest. I did enjoy his run from the left wing all the way to the right back position to make a tackle, which was great effort, to get back there was great. So I'm going to give him a 3. But honestly, with the ball at his feet, down to fitness, down to playing slightly out of position, wherever he's been playing, there's kind of excuses for him. But I thought the manager threw him under the bus. Yeah,
I agree. 6 and 3 I've gone for as well. Right, final 2 substitutions were, of course, Lewis Miley and young Joe White. Keith Truscott, thank you, your super chat. Sorry I'm late to the party, but have to say, if Trips was fit, then our man of the match would not have been on the pitch worth a thought. He's obviously gone for Tino as his man of the match. Ab says, under the bus, rubbish.
But he was thrown under the bus. Out of position, not fit.
Why would you play him in that position when he's played like 3 minutes of football, and you throw him on in that position? Sorry. But Abs, it's your opinion, I suppose. Right, Lewis Miley and Joe White, I'm going to give them both a 6. I thought they did. Well, I mean, they didn't get a lot of time, obviously, but that's the way I'm going. 6 and 6. Billy?
Yeah, I guess 6 and 6 is fair. Like Joe White, the fact he got a tackle in on somebody and got a foul in. I mean, I know it's not a massive positive, but
it was never a yellow card, though, in a million years.
Nobody else had the kind of forethought or the effort to put a tackle in all night. Fair play to him for that. So I'll give him a 6. And Miley, I guess he gets an assist for the Murphy goal, doesn't he, as well? So
yeah. Alex?
I think 6 and 6 is fair. I wanted to see more of Joe White, but the situation is just not called for it. It'd be nice to see if he's got it at the level. Probably, you would assume probably not, coming from Crewe. However, he's still with the squad. He's still under contract. Maybe. I like the professional foul. He didn't look out of place in the few minutes he was on the pitch. Yeah, 6 and 6. Miley was also absolutely fine. Didn't really do anything wrong, but weren't on long enough to affect the game. They needed 25, 30 minutes at least, and they should have probably had, at least one of them should have had 30 minutes.
Right, the manager, Eddie Howe. I'm going to start, and he's getting a -10 and all. I think everybody knows why. Billy?
Yeah, I'm disappointed that the positivity that we had last season, he's thrown away with his terrible management decisions in game, his terrible management of the squad, his lack of putting kids in, even though you might say they're not good enough, but at least to get them in we lost the games anyway. You might as well put the kids in to give them chance, give them experience, and rest your players at the same time. It's happened this season on many occasions. His substitutions were absolutely piss poor. He's thrown players into the bus. He's got players going out there with no attitude to kind of put foot in and try and create problems for Chelsea defensively and being aggressive, which was a big thing last year. Yeah, -10 is. Well, I think he's generous, but to me, he's got to go. He's got to go.
I'll just mention one thing. I'm getting shouted at for not crediting Miley with the assist. I think Murphy gets, I would say, 99% of the credit for that goal. Let's be honest.
Come on, yeah. By the way, Abs has given Eddie Howe a 6. Not one other person in the chat has given anywhere near a 6. Abs, your comment said, we were on the front foot and it was individual performances. Well, the substitutions weren't individual performances. The fact he left the Longstaff on the pitch isn't an individual performance. Their management decisions that cost us. But
we're on the front foot for about maybe 25 minutes in the whole game.
John Adams, thank you for your super chat. He says, any thoughts on Howe's decline in Rafa availability? Rafa will not come back. Let's just forget Rafa. He's done now. He's long gone.
I mean, if we bring back Florian Lejeune, we can technically have the same 3 centre-halves that Rafa did, because we've still got 2 of them at the club in Lascelles and Fabian Schär.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Julie makes a good point, saying is in his interviews that are annoying as well. He's in denial. He needs to take responsibility for the crap performances.
Yeah, 100%.
I think there's context to that. I think you've got to appreciate he knows that. I think he's just said it to protect his players. He's gone, right, that was crap, but I'll protect the guys. I personally think that's what he's done in that press conference.
Richard says, what rubbish you lot spout sometimes. Richard, explain.
Explain yourself.
Please explain why we're spouting rubbish. I look forward to your comment. Get it in now because we're going to end the show. So get it in. Ab says, I think Howe has been thrown under the bus. It's a hysterical overreaction.
He's thrown himself under the bus with his abject management, Abs, unfortunately. And if you can't see that, then fine, but don't get yourself to Specsavers.
Luke says, I've just tuned in. Are you seriously calling for Eddie Howe to go? Well,
Yes.
I'm not yet. Alex isn't, not yet. Billy is, but that's the opinions. I'll tell you, a lot of people are swaying. However, NUFC 1892 says, don't let the door hit you on the way out, Richard. Well, he hasn't replied to that, so whether he's been Billy Big Knob and then he's been called out and he's panicked, but yeah, we'll see. But let's do the poll, shall we? Oh, go on then.
I'm going to give him a 2. I'm not going to go into minuses. I'll give him a 2 because of the positive bits of the first half. I think he gets credit for that. It probably could have been a 3 or a 4, but he completely bottled the Gordon situation, in my opinion. I thought that should have been handled better. So it sits at a 2, and then we come out second half, and he does nothing to improve it beyond a 2. I didn't like really any of the substitutions, any of the tactical shifts in the second half. So it sits at a 2, and I can't give him any more than that. I think it was his worst managerial performance of this season. In fact, I think it's probably quite clearly his worst managerial performance of his Newcastle career to date. I can't think of a game because we've lost games that were an issue, but sometimes it was maybe, when we lost 3-0 to Villa, they lost the tactical battle. It didn't work. They played well. We had a day off. This was, I think, his worst, where he just got it wrong. I know there were individual mistakes in there, but it was definitely probably his worst managerial performance for him, as the Newcastle manager. So, 2. And I do want to say, referee, we didn't lose the game because of the referee. We were bad. We lost the game ourselves. Absolutely fine. No contentious decisions generally, but the overall decision making on the small stuff was really poor. Goal kicks that were corners that were goal kicks, throw-ins that weren't throw-ins. There were fouls that weren't given, stuff that was given that wasn't a foul, cards that weren't shown when they should have been. So Cucurella wasn't booked when he should have been. Sterling does one foul and gets an instant card. It was just really odd refereeing. The commentary was very complimentary of the referee, saying he was the new up-and-coming star. Get out of him. That's ridiculous. You're meant to be neutral in reference to referees. They're not celebrities. They're meant to be impartial and referee the game solidly. And that was a shocking refereeing performance that fortunately didn't impact the result. That was all our own doing, but it was a really odd refereeing performance. I just had to get that out there because it was really odd.
I mean, look, I get that there's people sticking up for Eddie Howe, and that's fine. Look, I mean, me and Alex have said we're not in the Howe out brigade just yet. Very critical of him. Billy is. A lot of people are in the chat as well. However, you can't keep saying, Eddie's taken. I mean, Richard's come back and said that Eddie has taken us from relegation to the Champions League. Give the guy a chance. But how far do you go with the chance? Because, a manager makes his money where the going gets tough, and he's not shown that he certainly hasn't shown me that he's willing to make those real ruthless decisions on certain players, and that's gone on for months now. That isn't just a recent thing. So if he's not putting it right, given the amount of time that he's had to put it right and make decisions on certain players that have been hopeless, how long does this give the guy a chance go on? Are you willing to let him have all the money to spend in the summer, not knowing that if he's going to bring the right players in? You look at some of the players he's looking at and you think, are we really aiming for those kind of players? I can see it from both sides in a way.
Well, listen, the last 2 away games, we've gone out there with no attitude, no effort. And yesterday, the manager joined in with that by taking our most creative player off when the game was still available for us to get points out of. Surrendered the points, waved the white flag, unacceptable for me, and that's why I want him out.
Dan says that Richard, it's not the Mike Ashley days anymore. He simply has to be better to keep up with our new expectations. He's hit his ceiling. I mean, what happens if we go out against Manchester City and we get done 7 or 8? A real embarrassment. There's no excuse. He's
got a massive excuse because he's got so many players injured now. He's going to have to put a makeshift side together. But we may as well go for it. Well, have a go at it. What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Go for it. We're going to get beat. Who cares? Have a go.
Yeah.
Let's be entertaining. Let's give our fans something to really cheer about. Never mind this nonsense last night.
Yeah, some people are saying in the chat that Steve Bruce managed to get us into 11th and things like that, and we're praising Eddie in 10th. So it's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. Right, let's have a look at the poll before we leave the show. We asked you, is Eddie Howe still your man? Very interesting results, guys. Yes, 35%. No, 34%. And on the fence, 31%. So very, very close. But the tide is starting to turn, I have to say. It's starting to turn. So yeah, it's very interesting. But there you go. That is the result of tonight's poll. But there you go. That is the review done and dusted, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, if you have enjoyed the show, please give it a like. I think there's a couple of people who will probably give it a dislike tonight, but never mind. Thank you very much to all the new subscribers. And if you have enjoyed it and you're not already subscribed, please do hit that button. It is free to do so. And hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any videos or we schedule in our live shows. Thank you to all the super chats, new memberships, etc. tonight. Mods, you've been fabulous again. Thank you to Billy and Alex, but thank you to you guys out there. Well over 1,100, nearly 1,200 watching tonight. Fantastic again. Thank you for keep coming back and spending your evenings with us. We really do appreciate it. But until next time, we bid you good night.
Good night.
Come back and check out some green.